we're able to reach out to our friends and families and loved ones to bring them in and to wake them up of, look, here's what's going on. They've done this before. And last night when we went through the history of the false flags in not only in our country but around the world, dictators or potential dictators that are coming to power, they've always created the false flag. And based on history, I really believe within the next 12 months we're going to have a major event in the United States. And anytime that happens, they're coming in to grab our rights away from us. Anyway, back to the text. And are appropriate means for the protection of military areas. Now, I thought that was interesting that Congress and the President, their authority is over these military areas, and we'll get more into that a little bit later on. The circumstances in November 1943 were not fraught with some degree of immediate danger to the welfare of the country. To justify the infringement of the inherent rights and liberties provided to individuals guaranteed by the Constitution, regardless of whether one accepts the truth of the assertion that the Japanese presented a realistic and immediate threat of espionage and sabotage to the West Coast. Due process jurisprudence should never again allow government intrusion on the liberty rights of citizens to live in their homes based on little more than government say-so. Now, this was in 1943, and we're seeing this thing play out over and over again. While the acknowledgement that the detention programs developed due to community hostility to the relocation of Japanese was based on race, Justice Douglas wrote that the policy of curfew and the exclusion that led to the detention had no racial undertones, leaving aside that Congress acquiesced to such a direct formal assault on the constitutional powers to determine domestic economic policies by passing the requested legislation under threat. President Roosevelt was prepared to exercise power he himself admitted was for Congress to exercise under his powers as Commander-in-Chief for the safety and security of America as he saw the need. Now, if you remember, Obama a few years ago basically said the same thing. They're following the exact same script. And if this goes off, it will be years if we recover, if we have a chance to get back to the courtroom to stop this thing. I believe that it's real important that we get real sure of our direction and where we're going, and more importantly, that we gather the people in here and begin to train the people of how to file into court, what to do, what the next step is, what's going to happen next, and all the different possibilities. And by coming together, instead of being apart, because there are a lot of liberty groups that are out here want to try to protect their flock as best as possible, and what that's really doing is that's really separating the different liberty groups. There is a definite place for common law. There's a definite place for the statutory law. We have in our Constitution the ability to beat these guys and to push them back. But they have gotten so brazen, realized that the people are so asleep that they can pretty much do anything and say anything, and the people just kind of go along with it. Not everybody, but a lot of the people. There's a lot of people that are asleep out here that are on social media, Facebook and LinkedIn and all the other social sites. And it's really our job to go out and evangelize these people and to show these people and to prove it and to say, here is the congressional record. Here's what happened. Now we have declassified documents. Now you see how they're doing it and what they're getting ready to do. This is so important that we understand this thing. In a lot of the churches and in the Christian movement, we all have friends that are possibly involved in these different activities, that there's a thought that, well, Jesus is going to split the skies and we're going to be taken out at the last moment. I don't see that happening, and I don't see that ever happened in the New Testament. And all the way through the New Testament, the apostles, for the most part, were tortured. Why we would think that, at the last second, he's going to come save us. We're getting ready to go through some major issues in America. And for the most part, Americans have been lulled asleep to the fact that, well, wait a minute, we live in America and nothing bad can really happen to us, and everything's going to be okay. And That's not the case. That's not what's coming. What's coming is really bad. My prayer is that we have time, and I don't know if we do, but that we have time to learn this, to be able to get in there and start fighting. And we really have two things that are going to happen pretty quick, and when I say pretty quick, within the next 24 months, is this. Either we're going to win in the courtroom, or we're going to have to go out and fight it in the physical, on the streets, and I don't want that. I kind of enjoy my life the way that it works right now. When a country gets invaded or when a country begins to fall, usually a country is destabilized and then it gets attacked. That's not going to play out good for anybody except the globalists.